Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Crochet Cakes podcast. This week it's a proper episode 53. So in the last episode, I said welcome to episode 53, but it was actually episode 52. Mistake on my part. I guess I was just so excited for the content of the next episode that I just time warped into the next episode. But anyway, welcome to episode 53. This week, our episode is going to be very socktacular. It's all going to be about those crochet socks and those knit socks because we are right smack nearing the end of the sock along. So you may or may not know that there is a sock along going on, but I will get more into that later because I know we have some new subscribers to this podcast. So hello to all of you who have decided to join our crafty community. My name is Clarissabeth and you can find me as Crochet Cakes anywhere on the internet, which includes Pinterest, Elo, Instagram, here on YouTube. And you can also follow my blog, crochetcakes.com. And you can also search for my Etsy shop, which is Dainty by Crochet Cakes. All the links will be in the down bar below as per usual. And you guys let me know, but I've also been thinking of including the show notes for the podcast in my blog. And I guess this week I kind of already did that because, let me just shift a little bit. Because last week's blog post was all about socks and this week's podcast episode is all about socks. Now, if you've been following for the last two episodes, maybe you'll notice that I'm in a different area of my craft corner because I'm still in my craft corner, but you can now see all the gaming posters in the background and some yarn that I've been working with right here and project bags next to me and all that. I think there's better lighting in this specific spot super early in the morning and super late in the afternoon, so just let me know if that's not the case and I will keep endeavoring to find the perfect crafting, podcasting, vlogcasting spot. Now, I have a lot to share with you today, but first and foremost, I hope that you guys have all been just, doing great. You've all been up to a lot of crafty goodness and that you've been enjoying all of the cows that have been running. So as I mentioned, it's Socktober. So Faye of the Crochet Circle podcast had the brilliant idea last year to host a sock along during the month of October. And Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast joined in, and there's a lot of other people that have joined in as well. I mentioned previously there's a blog hop which started 1 week before the launch of the cow. So I linked to all of that in my blog post. So if you're interested in checking it out, then go check out the blog post, crochetcakes.com. It's entitled Socktober. So it's titled Socktober. So if you're interested, just go ahead and check that out. All the links are there. So I'm kind of happy with that because in a way I did do the show notes for the episode already. If you just go read them on the blog, you'll find some pretty pictures and all the information you will need pertaining to socks. Yes. So what else has been going on in our crafting community? Well, I know that Rosina of the Zines and Roger podcast started her C2C Cal on the 7th of October, which I'm so tempted to actually join. The only reason I haven't joined is because I'm lazy and I don't want to wind yarn. I had a yarn winding party. I'm not gonna lie, I did have a yarn winding party, but I was exhausted by the end of it because I was just winding hanks of fingering weight yarn and 1 hank of worsted weight yarn. I wound 5 hanks in total and I was exhausted. I don't know what it is about winding yarn, but it's exhausting. It really is. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know Mom, she also finds it troublesome. And Nicola, I believe you also said that having a Swift does not make the job any easier. Sorry that I'm sipping tea in the podcast. It's not something that I normally do, but I have to board a plane to Boston on Friday because it's my cousin's wedding this Sunday, and I'm a bridesmaid. And I feel like a bit of a cold coming on, so I'm just trying to fight it with all the jasmine green tea and the chai tea and the chai and all the black teas that I currently have in my cupboard, which it's quite an amount of teas in my cupboard. I'm the only one that drinks tea in our apartment, really. My fiance will sometimes ask me to make him a cup of tea, especially if he's sick. You know, he was sick about 2 weeks ago, and I made him, I'm not kidding, 10 cups of tea, which with also a lot of water, because we know tea is a bit dehydrating. But anyway, I was mentioning other cals that have been going on. So for the C2C cal, it's C2C is something that I wanted to try this year. If you remember the first episode of the new year that I posted with Mom, I talked about my goals for the 2018 crafty year. I will try and figure out how to link the videos at the end of the podcast, but if I can't, the links will be down below for the videos that I'm talking about in case you just want to review. But one of the things I mentioned that I wanted to learn in 2018 was corner to corner crochet, and Rosina had very kindly gifted me a bag pattern. But the yarn that I'm thinking, which is the Iona wool that I purchased in Edinburgh this year, I kind of really want to make a mini blanket out of it. I don't think I have enough to make like a proper bed blanket, but at least a lap blanket or something that I could just put on the floor if we're, you know, outside and I can sit on it. That's kind of what I'm hoping to do. But who knows, you know what, maybe I will just start it and I'll just work on it throughout the 2019 year. But I just really wanted to finish projects that I've got on the go before starting any new ones. And that's kind of been a bit difficult because I got the casting on bug. But before we also talk about my casting on bug, I guess we can talk about the Pumpkin Mal, which is hosted by Joanna and Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi. So that's Joanna from Stitching the High Notes. So if you guys are all interested, go do something pumpkin related and fit it into that cal. I do not have anything pumpkin related going on at all. Last year I made a garment with pumpkin color, and I called my top Pumpkin Pasties in honor of Harry Potter, but this year I got no pumpkin stuff. Nada. Zilch. But what I do have for you today is some finished objects, crochet finished objects, some knitting works in progress, some sewing works in progress, and some sewing half-finished objects. So we get to crack on. The first thing I want to share with you is, of course, my crochet finished objects. So I finished my first pair of socks for this crochet along, this sock along, and these are it. They're, I guess they're inspired by the Gorman Street toe-up socks because I did crochet these guys toe-up using a 3mm hook, and I used a stitch in the Gorman Street toe-up sock pattern, which is an extended single crochet, and I have so many ideas of things I want to do with this stitch. So many ideas. But I did not do a gusset or a heel flap. I just did a short row heel, and then I did a knit cuff. Now, as you guys can see, even with a 3mm hook, my gauge was pretty loose, but I did not want to go down to a 2.75mm hook because then I was afraid I would not be able to get it over my ankle, you know, the largest part of your foot. So I just knit the cuff to make it just a little bit easier, and you can see how much my stitches are pulled in. I just did a 2x2 rib using a 9-inch circular, which is my preferred method of knitting socks, and I will talk to you a bit about that later. So the yarn is an eco printed and naturally dyed hank of yarn that I purchased from Crafternoon Treats. It is in one of her sock bases. I don't know if this is still a sock base. This is 85% Polworth and 15% nylon. I believe that the sock base she has now in her shop is a mixture of Polworth, Corriedale, and nylon. But these socks, guys, I absolutely love them. You can tell this one's just a little bit looser than this one. But that always happens. The second sock I knit, crochet, always turns out just a little bit looser. So, you know, that's just the name of the game for me. But can we talk about just... here it is. So in this sock, if you can see there, I have a little bit of a hole that I did not have on this one. So I don't know what happened. I think I might have skipped a stitch by mistake and then added it on somewhere along the road. I tend to do that, guys. Like if I'm working the heel of my sock and I see that I skipped a stitch, I just add it somewhere else. I'm not overly concerned. It might sound bad, but hey, you know, these are handmade socks and they're for me. Another thing that I would like to comment on is that these are the second pair of shorty crochet socks that I have made, and I've come to the conclusion I don't like shorty crochet socks. I like shorty knit socks, but I don't like shorty crochet socks. I feel they look a bit weird. You know, even on the sock blocker, they tend to look a little bit weird. So I think from now on, I'm just going to make them a little bit taller. And I had yarn left over. Of course I did. And this is how much I have left over. Let's weigh it. I have my scale right next to me. I had 43 grams left over. So 42 grams, sorry, 42 grams left over, which is enough to knit a pair of socks if I use contrasting toes and yarn for the toes and heels, at least for the toes and the heels. And this was living in my Cath Kidston bag. There's a version of this bag available in my shop if you're interested. So this is some Alexander Henry fabric that I was practically hoarding. And it's beautiful. So yes, crochet socks for the win. I absolutely love crocheting socks. I cannot lie, but I also have kind of been getting into the knit socks. So the first thing I want to show you, it's living in my Scottish bag, is I finished Edison's sock. I think I showed this to you last time. It doesn't really fit in the sock blocker, but the important thing is I cast on the new one. So if you remember in the previous episode, I mentioned that Edison said the sock was a bit too loose around the cuff and leg area. I did 72 stitches all the way across. So what he didn't say was loose on the foot area, just the leg and the cuff. So what I did for this one, I cast on 68 stitches. I like to say I cast on 68 stitches, but the truth is I had cast on 69, and instead of just adding 3 stitches, I just knit 2 together and did 68 stitches. So it was a mistake, but a good mistake, because I've got 68 stitches. It's still very stretchy. And then I increased to 70 stitches for the leg, and they're almost matching. I honestly don't worry about matching socks. They're socks, and besides, I love mismatched socks, so hey. So I'm not really following a pattern. I'm just doing 70 stitches, knitting all the way around. This is probably about 6 inches of leg, including the cuff, and then I'm just going to do the heel, which is an eye of partridge heel, just a standard eye of partridge heel, and then I'm going to pick up my stitches and keep going. So I'm knitting these on 9-inch circular needles, my Chiago 9-inch circular needles. I do not knit with anything else. Well, I lie, I do knit with some Clover Takumi bamboo 9-inch circulars. They're perfectly acceptable, especially for the Mercury sock pattern, because you only do 56 stitches, so that's great. But I was kind of hoping to have this done by, you know, the end of the sock cow. I can still make it because the end of it is the 31st of October, so let's hope. So yes, that's sock number 1. Sock number 2, which would be the one I've had a long time on the needles, I have not worked on, and that's my sister's socks. They're a pair of Hermione's everyday socks. I have not worked on them, but I did do sock number 3. So living in this lovely bag that I got from Handmade by Yael. It's linen and she's stamped on it. I love it. Is a Christmas present for Mom. Now, I'm not, giving anything away. She knows I cast this on for her. So these are the Jemima socks, and they are a sock pattern designed by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, and I love them. So I just decided to cast some on. Right here, you can see. And I decided to just use yarn I had from Stash that I've been hoarding for a while. It's some Regia self-striping yarn. It's supposed to be that perfect thing. But if you can see, those cuffs are just a bit too, how should I say this, long for my taste. So this is a 15 row cuff for me. But apparently I was still like super far away because I got the color changes all the way down here. And they're not perfect. They're so interrupted. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I like the sock pattern, and I'm just gonna keep working until I have about 5 inches. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 repeats done. I'm starting the 6. I'm thinking I'll probably do maybe 10 repeats, because then that'll be about this big, and that's about generally how big I tend to do my legs anyway. Mostly because I get tired of knitting and I just want to see it off the needles. I really want to use them. So anyway, Kay said she designed this pattern to work with any sock yarn that you have. She didn't want to tie you down to a specific sock yarn, which I greatly appreciate. And I just decided to use some self-striping as well because Kay was doing a version of her socks in self-striping yarn and they looked beautiful. So that's all I can really say about that, I guess, except that if you notice, these are not 9-inch circulars, they're on magic loop. These are my Likey needles. Yeah, look up, Likey, happiness needles, I guess. What can I tell you about these? I'm not sure I like magic loop, but it could just be that I'm so used to the 9-inch circulars and how fast I can be on them that these just don't feel right. I do like that there's a longer needle that you can play with so my hands don't get cramped, but I don't think I'm a convert. We shall see. I do want to make some more pairs of socks and magic needles. I don't want to say that I dislike magic needles without actually giving it a proper go. This would be the second pair of socks I knit on magic loop. The first pair was a 3.25 millimeter hook, and they were the blueberry waffle socks that I knit for myself on a DK weight. So this is the first time I've done magic loop with a fingering weight, and I think I still prefer 9-inch circulars. So for my Socktober, my Sockathon, my crochet socks, my knit socks, that's really it for now. I do plan on doing more. I cannot lie, guys. I think my garment mojo has turned into a sock mojo, which is weird. And you know what's even weirder? I knit socks for everybody else, but I crochet socks for me. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I need to knit another pair of socks for me because I want my socks to be evenly matched. I want to have the same number of crochet socks as I do knit socks. And I want to make Addie Day's new sock pattern, which, forgive me, but I completely am blanking out on the name, but I will link to it down below. And I want to make another pair of My Sweet Socks, which is a free sock pattern that Mom has created. It's available in her blog and on Ravelry as well. So if you've made it, you can tag it on Ravelry. And please don't forget to participate in the Ravelry group. There's a chatter thread for those of you making the My Sweet Socks crochet pattern, because the general chatter thread for the official sock along is in Claudia's Ravelry group, which is Crochet Luna, and the finished objects thread is in Crafternoon Treats Ravelry group. Which reminds me, I have not entered my socks in the Crafting and Treats Ravelry group. I did enter it in both hashtags on Instagram, which are SockCal2018 and Sockalong2018. So that really is it for crochet socks. But what I can share with you is a little bit of a crochet work in progress. Now, ages ago, I had said I was going to include multiple versions of the Shield Maiden garment pattern, which is a free pattern that you can find on my blog. You can download it as a PDF if you would like, and it's made with Bernat Homemaker yarn, so it's a bulky cotton nylon blend. I try to make it as openly as lacy as possible while covering up important bits so you could wear it in the summer. But then I was like, what if people don't like bulky weight yarn, you know? And sometimes people find it uncomfortable to crochet on bulky weight yarn, so I should probably do a DK weight version, and maybe even a sport weight version or a fingering weight version. So there's 2 reincarnations of this right now. I hope I'm not pulling my stitches. Yes, I pulled stitches. Can we talk about how easy it is to fix crochet pulled stitches versus knit pulled stitches? So while I was knitting the pair of Jemima socks, I managed to drop a stitch. Actually, I lied, I didn't manage to drop a stitch. Well, I did, but that was after, and that was easily fixed because I noticed it immediately, so I could put it on my needle immediately. What I did was that I did the pattern repeat wrong on one side, so I had to tink back. But then when I tinked back on Magic Loop, I ended up with the yarn here, and I had no idea how I was going to fix that. So I just tinked all the way back to the start of the needle, and then I just did it over again. But it was just a, nobody move, I made a mistake and I need to tink. I need to tink back, I made a mistake. That was literally how that went. I'm not kidding. There were a couple of Edison's friends playing video games here that day, and I was playing some Mario Kart as well, and I was just like, nobody move, I need to fix this. What is it about when dropping stitches that you feel like if anyone in the room breathes, you're done for? I don't know. But yes, going back to the crochet work in progress. So I'm doing the DK weight version of the Shield Maiden pattern. If you can appreciate here, this was the original DK version that I started with. And then I realized 2 hanks of DK weight yarn is not anywhere near enough to make what I want to make. So I went back to the drawing board and I found this guy here. This guy here is a single ply 100% superwash merino yarn from Kayleen. It is the Wormtail colorway. And I'm kind of upset that such an ugly character has such a pretty yarn. So this is her Wormtail colorway. It's this one at the bottom. I just really love her simple DK base because everything to me looks like an impressionist painting when I'm using it. Especially these that she speckled. Just look like impressionist paintings. So here I faded from the Wormtail into the prongs, and then I just did prongs all the way up to here, I believe, and then I started fading prongs into the Toffee Apple colorway. So this will be not a bit of a cropped sweater, but right now it's like if I put it here, it's way cropped. So it's a little bit below the breast area right now. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep crocheting on this. I plan on doing the whole top in just the Toffee Apple colorway. So we'll see. I have been weighing the yarn just to make sure I'm gonna have enough for the back and the sleeves. I would like to make this one have at least 3/4 length sleeves and ribbing on the sleeves, so we will see. That may or may not be the case, But if you're interested in the details of this pattern, then go check out my blog post on it, and you can download the pattern for free on my blog. It's not on Ravelry right now because I only have one size available, and that is the small medium size. I need to work on that. I think I figured out a way how I'm going to size for the medium large. Actually, in terms of the bulky weight yarn, it would be kind of large, extra large, not medium large. But you can read those details in the pattern in my blog. I feel like I've said that so many times, but I'm really trying to work on updating my blog regularly, and for now I am. I'm uploading, I guess, every 2 weeks as well, but it's alternated. So when you get a blog post, the next week you get a podcast, and then the next week a blog post, and the next week a podcast. I'm trying to update it that way so you can have lots of crafty content whenever you want. And I'm thinking about maybe doing audio blogs. So I guess it would be proper audio podcasts. So for those of you that are interested in the content of the blog, but you don't exactly want to read it, or you don't have time to read it, I was thinking of just reading it out loud to you guys. In that way, you can not miss out on any content. But let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, because I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm quitting my work at the tea shop. The 2nd of November is my last day. So after that, I'll be full throttle in this podcast with you lovely people. In terms of crafty content, that is it. I have not worked. Actually, no, I lie. I have worked on my Aster top. I finished the front panel and I started the back panel, but I won't be sharing it with you today because I'm going to try and keep this videos 30 minutes. Because if I can keep them for 30 minutes, then that means I can upload an episode every week with interchanging projects and having new content for you guys, which is something I'm really looking forward to. I don't know. Just, again, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. But yes, I have worked on my Aster top. I have not worked on my Ollivander shawl. My poor Ollivander shawl is so close to being finished, and yet it's been so overlooked with all the new shiny things. And I have not worked on my secret garden dress, which is a shame because I promised myself I would at least crochet 2 squares a day and attach them, which is not that hard. But again, shiny new things and ideas for garments keep popping up into my head, so I just really want to start those as well. I even wound up the yarn for my next design, which is going to be using a knit crate yarn. For those of you who don't know, I am a Knit Crate ambassador, and if you do not know what Knit Crate is a yarn monthly subscription box that's from here in Florida. I believe I am not misleading you with that information. And they just contacted me, asked me if I would be interested in reviewing yarn for them. At first they said it was only going to be 3 months, but they keep sending gorgeous yarn my way. And I'm like, okay, just yes, I will take it. So I want to do my part and properly review these yarns for them. So I'm coming up with designs. In some cases, I will be making the designs that are provided in the booklets they send to you, but in other cases, I'll be designing my own. The other thing that I have left to share with you would be some sewing, as I said. I will just quickly gloss over the sewing part, but I have it behind me. One moment. So I had gone to Joann's looking, I don't remember what I was looking for. I was looking for contrasting fabric for a Christmas bag that Mom commissioned. And I got so distracted because I saw this fabric, this lovely bat fabric. This is organza. It's the Witching Hour. It's the Witching Hour brand. I don't remember what this exact fabric was called, but I just decided it's gonna need to be a circle skirt. And for the bottom, I paired it with this, it's like a marled purple gray. So it looks like a bit of clouds, and it's got glitter on the inside, so it ups the glitter factor of the organza as well. Now, mistakes were made, terrible mistakes. So for example, in order to make a circle skirt, you have to fold your fabric certain ways, right? And I'm pretty sure the inside fabric wasn't even 42, I was about 42 inches instead of 45. So I ended up with a really short lining that I even had to use the selvage for. So I have to tackle that hem, and I have to tackle the organza hem because it's fraying. And I'm really scared. So that's why this remains unfinished. The other mistake I had made was that I used a pattern for a circle skirt that I have, but that circle skirt uses a waistband, and I wanted an elastic waistband because I didn't want to cut and insert a zipper. In order to have done that, I would have needed to cut below the waistband indicated in the pattern to actually get a waist that would fit into the elastic when stretched. Right now, I can only get this over my head. It does not stretch because there is, even though it's an elastic, it just serves as a waistband, an actual waistband, not a stretchy waistband. So mistakes were made, but the skirt is still usable. I still love it. Brilliant. It's, oh, I cannot describe to you how much I love this skirt. But yes, I do have to finish it because I plan on next week just wearing my three Halloween skirts and my Halloween dress, and then after that, of course, proper Halloween. You have to dress up. So yes, that just leaves me, I guess, with some acquisitions for you guys because I did do something naughty. So yes, Yarn Day happened on the 29th of September. 29th of September? Anyway, Yarn Day happened. Mom and I wanted to go. We didn't get to go. So I bought myself some I didn't get to go to Yarn Day yarn. And it's actually a yarn that I've been eyeing for quite a while. I have to go get it. And it's yarn from This yarn is from Miss Muffet Yarns. So it came all the way from the UK. And this colorway is gorgeous and beautiful, and it's called the San Francisco Bay. Okay, there's even pom-poms. But I also, I figured why get one? If I'm already paying shipping, might as well get two. So I also got this. And this is called As Happy as a Seagull with a Chip. That's the name of the colorway, and it's a beautiful, there's the cream base, there's yellow, some intense yellow bits, some softer yellow, and the cream has speckles of gray in it, and there is some areas of the yarn that are very lightly dyed with gray. It's just a beautiful colorway that really spoke to me, and I think with the gentle speckling, it will work up beautifully. And I'm just gonna unwind it for you guys so I can better explain the colors. So I'm imagining there's going to be some tiny bit of striping because half of the hank is dyed with the yellow, and it sort of fades into a lighter yellow, and then it fades into the cream with the light gray specklings and some darker gray speckling. So yes, I think this will be beautiful, and I'm already planning on making a pair of so it was either going to be Deanne's sock pattern or the My Sweet Sock Patterns by Mom. And I keep saying Mom, by Inspired Professor. So that's how it's just gorgeous. And the San Francisco Bay has some tealy blues in it, some creams with gray speckling, again, I guess to represent the fog, and some orange brick colors, which, hello, I couldn't resist. So this one I think will be variegated yarn. It starts out with, on one end, with the brick orange bits, then it fades into the cream, then a little bit of tealy blues, and then we've got some creams with light gray speckling. It's actually showing up pretty true to color on camera, which is weird because my camera does not capture blues at all. Well, so that is that for some. I hate unwinding the yarn if I'm not going to use it because I just can't wind it correctly. It ends up being just a blob like that. Yeah, that's me. So I'm excited for both of these colors. They will both be pairs of socks. What's yet to be determined is what sock pattern they shall be. But since I already have 2 ideas, I don't think it's going to take a while. I just have to wind them up. And these are going to have to wait just a tiny little bit because we are properly entering into the season where everything I crochet or knit is for a gift. But this year, I decided I wasn't going to stress about it. And all the yarn that I have wound is going to be hats. They are going to be hats. I think 2 of them are just going to be beanies, and 1 of them will actually be another banquet. We shall see. But they're all going to be hats, so that makes my life just a teeny tiniest bit easier, especially if I make crochet hats because they whip up really fast. But yes, that is all the crafty content I have for you today. If you're interested in any shop news, all I have to say is that the Halloween bags are still in the shop. The only one that's not in the shop is the Halloween tote bag. That one was purchased recently and it's happily made its way to its new home, in which it's very loved and admired, which I couldn't be more thrilled for. But I still have the, you know what? I'll just quickly show you. So these are the Halloween versions that are left in my shop. This is the Alexandra Henry fabric, which I kind of wish I had done this for mine because I love it so much more than just the plain towel on the outside and the beautiful fabric on the inside. But this one is lined with some fleur-de-lis yarns, and then I have this one, Alice in Wonderland, which is gorgeous, and it's lined with some roses. Off with your heads. And I've got this one, which is embroidered, and it's got the cupcake to represent the cakes that Alice eats to shrink or grow inside. And inside it's lined with this beautiful tea Japanese fabric, which is also Alice in Wonderland inspired. Okay, this one has a handle. This one's a drawstring, so pull the drawstring, got a handle. This one doesn't have a handle, but I've also got this lovely Halloween one. Cha-cha! Which is lined with some critters on the inside, and it's red. Yeah, cha-cha-cha. I love all of these bags. I wish I had projects for all of them. So these are all roughly the same size. They are 11 by 10. That's the size I cut the fabric. So they're bigger than sock bags. I would say they're actually proper shawl bags. My sock bags now are a smaller size. So they're about this size. This is one of the socks that was left over from the sock along. These are the special bags I had sewn for the sock along with some minis and some of Claudia's pins that Mom had purchased. There are still 5 left in the shop if you're interested. I've still got them. And every time I look at them, I love them. I love them more. I love creating stuff for my shop. I just love coming up with color combinations, and I think I actually spend more time coming up with coordinating fabrics to sew together than the actually sewing bit. Well, the sewing bit just takes me about 45 to an hour, but yes, I just love them. So they are all made with love. What else can I share with you guys today? Like I said, I will be going to my cousin's wedding, where I'll be a bridesmaid, but I'll also be staying some time with my brother and I'll be seeing Mom just for a couple of days as well. But Mom will also be coming on the 14th of November. I have to go pick her up at Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So it's quite a drive, but I'm so excited she's coming over that we'll have a little craftcation. So yes, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed and you would like to do so, then click the subscribe button below. And if you are subscribed and you have not been getting any notifications, then click the little bell also below, and you will see notifications pop up in your feed whenever I upload some content, which I hope will be more often. Right now I podcast every 2 weeks, but like I said, if I can get the content down to 35-40 minutes, then I will try and podcast every week. Don't forget to check in by commenting on my blog, messaging me here on YouTube, on Instagram, commenting on Ravelry, anywhere you wish to contact me, which also includes an email, which is crochetcakespodcast@gmail.com. So feel free to message me if you are inclined to do so. That really is it for today's episode, guys. So until next time, happy crafting. I shall see you.